but the Bible did not explicitly say what exactly happened, right? But afterwards, we found out that Onesimus ran away. Onesimus wanted his freedom and found an opportunity to snatch it and fleeing to the Rome like other fugitives. He hoped to be lost among the crowd, along the masses, and thrown to the imperial capital of Rome. Siguro, lumaya siya, he escaped, and then siguro he think that, mingling with the crowd, hindi siya matatagpuan, right? Parang ginawa niyang escape yung city ng Rome. So, that was Onesimus. He was the runaway slave. So, we have seen the three characters. The first one was the writer and his letter, which is Paul. And then we see also Philemon, the well-off master. Sabi ko nga kanina, he was a Roman, a person. Philemon was a Roman citizen in Colossae, but he became a follower of Christ. And he used to have Onesimus at one point na kanyang slave, and also si Onesimus. Okay, but despite of it, Onesimus could not hide from the one who is seeking his soul, right? And it was God, right? Though circumstances not revealed, God brought Onesimus in the presence of Paul. Nag-meet sila during the time nung tumakas si Onesimus, nung napunta siya sa Rome, nakita sila ni Paul. Eventually, Onesimus came to Paul in prison and likely to appeal for help. Meaning siya siguro ng tulong. And in the process, he became a follower of Jesus. And then, a beloved assistant of Paul. Onesimus, whose name means useful, that is, yun yung meaning ng kanyang name, that's the meaning of Onesimus, he quickly became one of Paul's beloved and eager student. Naging assistant din siya ni Paul, especially during the time of his imprisonment. But there is a big problem na we could see here. Actually, ayan yung sa aking, no, there's a problem. And what is this problem? Paul finds himself in a very difficult and delicate situation as he writes this letter. When he was writing this letter to Philemon, he finds himself in a very difficult situation. There was a critical matter that needed to be settled, legally, relationally, and spiritually. He is going to ask Philemon not just to forgive Onesimus and receive him back, but to embrace him as a brother in the Messiah and no longer as a slave. So, nung time na nagkakilala na si Paul tsaka si Onesimus, nalaman ni Paul yung situation, he understand the situation of Onesimus, he now needs to send Onesimus back to his previous master, na si Philemon. Right? But the problem is that Onesimus is a runaway felon, guilty of serious crime, and Onesimus was a fugitive, a wanted man in the eyes of the Roman justice system. He had not only defrauded his master of his service, but likely he stolen goods or money from him when he left. Yun yung parang haka-haka nila. Na hindi lang siya tumakas, bro. Hindi lang siya tumakbo, but at the same time, meron siyang ginawang kasalanan. So malaki yung kanyang crime. And that is one big problem from Paul, because he wants to unite Onesimus with Philemon, but the problem is this big issue hindering between them. The necessity of sending Onesimus back to Colossae became more urgent when Paul finishes his epistle to Colossian church. Remember, Philemon is part of the Colossian church. Doon siya nag-a-attend. And remember, this is the time when Paul was writing to the Corinthian people. When he wrote that letter to the Colossian church, he also wrote another letter, but the second letter was a personal letter for Philemon. So the first letter was for the church of Colossians, and the second letter was a personal letter directed to Philemon. And that was sent out at the same time. Sabi ko nga kanina, along with it, a second letter which Paul wrote to Philemon. A personal letter from Paul was sent as well. You could find that on Colossians chapter 4, verse 6 to 7. Ang sabi doon, Paul dispatched a man named Tychicus to deliver those letters along with Onesimus. So when Paul sent Tychicus to Colossians, he sent him 2 letters. One letter to the Colossians and one letter directed to Philemon. And when he sent out Tychicus, he sent Onesimus with him at the same time. So the big question right now is, what is on that letter? Ano ba yung nasa letter na yun? And what is the significance of this letter in our theme about unity? Diba? How can we achieve or how can we draw inspiration from that letter pertaining to unity? Actually, gaya nga sabi ko kanina, just like what I've said, we have Onesimus and we have his former master na si Philemon, and here is Paul trying to unite them. So, doon natin ipapasok yung ating lesson. So, let's look at the letter. Here is how he does it. Kung paano niya sinulat yung letter. Actually, let's open it again on the first one. Sabi ko nga dito. Okay. There is a prescription from that letter. Tingnan natin yung prescription. My first point is, number 1, prayer. Let's look at this. Sabi niya sa verse 4. Sabi niya doon, I always thank my God as I remember you in my prayers, because I heard about your love for all His holy people and your faith in the Lord Jesus. Yun ang sabi ni Paul doon sa sulat niya. I pray that your partnership with us in the faith may be effective in deepening your understanding or every good thing we share for the sake of Christ. Sabi sa verse 7, your love has given me great joy and encouragement because you, brother, has refreshed the hearts of the Lord's people. So what can we see here on verse 4 up to verse 7? Well, if you will notice, I highlight yung word na prayer. Because in order for us to have unity, we have to start it with a prayer. Right? Sabi niya ganoon, Paul's open a prayer first, praising Philemon and thanking God for the love and faithfulness he has shown to Jesus and to his people. You know, remember, despite of the difficulty, Paul realized that prayer and praises should be the first on his to-do list. You know, sa situation natin ngayon, sa mundo, sa mga nangyayari, the thing that we see nowadays is, instead of people trying to find answer to prayer, nagre-resort sila dun sa panic buying. But look at this, even Paul is facing difficulty just like us. He managed to open his letter through prayer. He opened up his request with this line. Sabi niya gano'n, I pray that the partnership that spring from your faith may effectively lead you to recognize all the good things that work in us into the Messiah. The key word here is partnership. Ang sabi niya gano'n, di ba? Sa verse 6, I pray that your partnership, okay? Underline that word partnership. In Greek, he used that word koinonia or koinonia. It means sharing or mutual participation. Sabi nga nila, partnership, it is to unite or to join together. It is when 2 or more people receive something together and share it. It's becoming partners. Paul was saying that faithfulness to Jesus would equally means recognizing that all of his followers are equal partners. Partners that who share together in the gifts of God's love and grace. Okay? So for Paul, this experience of koinonia among Jesus' followers, it is not just an idea that we think about. Hindi lang ito isang idea. It is something that we should and must do in our relationship. This is Paul's first and main reason as to why we should unite. Ito yung dahilan kung why Paul decided to unite Onesimus and Philemon. Because he understands that the partnership that we have with the Lord Jesus Christ should require us to be equal with the Lord as well. This in which moves Paul into his request. This is what makes him proceed to his request. Yun yung una natin makikita, yung kanyang prayer. Okay, so what else can we see here based on the prescription from his letter? Let's go to our second point. The plea and the petition. Kanina, we see that there is a prayer. Now, one of his prescription